Invincible Season 1 Episode 4 explained. Invincible Episode 4 takes Mark all the way to Mars, but while he's dealing with aliens in space, the mystery surrounding Omni-Man is becoming even more dangerous back on Earth. So let's break down everything that happens. The episode begins with Debbie meeting Olga, the widow of Red Rush. Olga is still devastated by her husband's death and has completely lost faith in the Global Defense Agency. She decides to leave the country and asks Debbie to help sell her home. But their conversation only makes Debbie more suspicious. After Damien Darkblood's warning in the previous episode, she can no longer completely ignore the possibility that Nolan may be hiding something. Meanwhile, Mark's relationship with Amber is finally moving forward. The two go on their first real date, and despite Mark being extremely nervous, things actually go pretty well. Unfortunately, superhero responsibilities are about to ruin his plans once again. Cecil asks Omni-Man to protect humanity's first manned mission to Mars. Nolan refuses. He claims that his responsibility is protecting Earth and that he can't disappear for 2 weeks just to babysit astronauts. So Mark volunteers instead. Cecil agrees, but Mark has to keep his involvement completely secret. Mark travels to Mars alongside the spacecraft and successfully protects the astronauts during the journey. Once they land, he's told to remain hidden while the crew completes their mission. And Mark immediately gets distracted. While he's relaxing, the astronauts are captured by Martians. Mark eventually realizes they're missing and begins searching for them. He discovers an entire Martian civilization hidden beneath the planet's surface. The Martians bring the astronauts before their emperor, who explains that humans cannot be allowed to return to Earth. And the reason is something called the sequids. Sequids are small parasitic creatures capable of attaching themselves to a host and controlling them. Normally, they can't control Martians because of their natural abilities. But humans don't have that protection. If a sequid takes control of a human, it could create a connected hive mind and become powerful enough to spread across planets. The Martian Emperor believes allowing the astronauts to leave could eventually threaten the entire universe. Because of this, he orders their execution. Mark obviously isn't going to allow that. He rescues the astronauts and quickly escapes Mars with them. At first, it seems like the mission is a success. Mark protected the crew and brought everyone home alive. But he missed one very important detail. One of the astronauts has secretly been replaced by a Martian. The real astronaut, Bruce Livingston, has been left behind. And he's now completely covered by sequids. The exact disaster the Martian Emperor feared has already begun. While Mark is on Mars, Nolan and Debbie travel to Rome. Nolan believes they need some time together and tries to recreate their first vacation. For a while, it actually works. He tells Debbie stories about their relationship and reminds her of the life they've built together. But Debbie directly asks Nolan if he killed the Guardians of the Globe. Nolan denies it. He claims Cecil already investigated him and cleared him of any suspicion. Debbie wants to believe her husband, and for a moment, it seems like Nolan has regained her trust. The problem is that Nolan isn't telling her the truth. Cecil already knows Omni-Man killed the Guardians. The GDA has studied the evidence and reached the same conclusion as Damien Darkblood. But Cecil doesn't arrest Nolan. And there's a very good reason for that. They have no idea how to stop him. Omni-Man is one of the most powerful beings on Earth. If Cecil confronts him without understanding why he killed the Guardians or finding a way to defeat him, millions of people could die. So Cecil decides to wait. Damien Darkblood, however, refuses to stop investigating. Cecil realizes that Darkblood's actions could force Omni-Man to react before the GDA is ready. Because of this, Cecil summons Darkblood and banishes him back to Hell. But before disappearing, Darkblood leaves his notebook hidden inside Debbie's closet. His investigation may be over, but he has left the evidence behind for Debbie to find. Meanwhile, Robot continues acting suspiciously. The surviving Mauler has successfully created another clone of himself. Robot secretly watches the entire cloning process. We also discover that Robot stole a blood sample from Rex Splode. He brings the sample to a hidden laboratory, where we finally see that Robot isn't exactly what he appears to be. Inside a containment tank is his real body, Rudy Connors. His body is severely deformed and unable to survive outside the machine keeping him alive. This explains why Robot is so interested in the Mauler twins and their cloning technology. He's planning something much bigger. By the end of episode 4, Mark believes his mission to Mars was a success. But in reality, he accidentally left a human behind with the sequids and unknowingly brought a Martian back to Earth. Debbie is still questioning Nolan. Cecil knows Omni-Man murdered the Guardians but is too afraid to confront him. And Robot is secretly preparing a plan involving cloning and Rex's DNA. Episode the 4th of May not have the massive fights of the previous episodes, but it expands the world of Invincible in a huge way. The threat is no longer limited to Earth. The Sequids are growing on Mars. The GDA is secretly preparing for Omni-Man. And almost every character is hiding something. The biggest question now is how long Nolan can keep his secret from his own family. What did you think about episode 4? Let me know in the comments, and if you want episode 5 explained next, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Invincible Episode 5 gives Mark one of the most brutal reality checks of his life. After becoming more confident in his powers, Mark finally meets an enemy who proves that he is nowhere near as invincible as he thinks. So let's break down everything that happens. The episode introduces us to Titan. Titan is a super-powered criminal who can cover his entire body in rock. He works for a powerful crime boss named Machine Head and is forced to carry out dangerous jobs for him. But Titan wants out. He has a wife and daughter, and he doesn't want his family trapped in this criminal world anymore. So Titan approaches Mark and asks for his help. He explains that Machine Head controls a huge part of the city's criminal activity and is hurting innocent people. Mark is hesitant at first. Titan is still a criminal, and helping him would mean getting involved in something much bigger. Nolan also warns Mark not to interfere. According to Nolan, Mark should focus on larger threats instead of wasting his powers on street-level crime. But Mark doesn't agree. If innocent people are suffering, he believes a hero should help them. So Mark secretly agrees to work with Titan. At the same time, Mark is struggling with his relationship with Amber. He keeps disappearing because of superhero emergencies, but Amber has no idea that Mark is invincible. Mark promises to help her at a soup kitchen. Unfortunately, his mission with Titan happens at the same time. Mark once again chooses his superhero life and leaves Amber waiting. Mark and Titan eventually attack Machine Head's building. Their plan seems simple: get inside, defeat Machine Head, and end his criminal operation. But Machine Head is already waiting for them. Thanks to a powerful quantum probability chip, Machine Head predicted their attack. And he has hired several dangerous villains to protect him. Mark and Titan suddenly find themselves surrounded. But one villain immediately stands out: Battle Beast. At first, Mark still seems confident. He's the son of Omni-Man. He's fought aliens and monsters. He probably believes he can handle almost anything. Then Battle Beast attacks, and everything changes. Battle Beast completely destroys Mark. Mark tries to fight back, but his attacks barely seem to matter. Battle Beast hits him with his mace and brutally beats him into the ground. For the first time, Mark faces someone who is clearly far stronger than him. The new Guardians of the Globe arrive to help. Robot, Rexplode, Duplicate, Shrinking Ray, Monster Girl, and Black Samson join the battle. But the team immediately struggles. They still aren't working together properly. Black Samson tries to remind everyone that their job is to protect civilians and fight as a team. But Battle Beast is simply too powerful. Monster Girl attacks him in her monster form. Battle Beast brutally injures her. Black Samson tries to fight him and is also nearly killed. Mark, already badly injured, gets back up and tries to stop Battle Beast. But Battle Beast beats him again. Mark is left lying on the ground, covered in blood and barely alive. Battle Beast eventually becomes disappointed. He realizes that none of the heroes are strong enough to give him the challenge he wants. So he simply leaves. He doesn't lose. He doesn't run away. He just decides the fight isn't worth his time. With Battle Beast gone, the remaining Guardians finally begin working together. They defeat the other villains, and the GDA arrives to take control of the situation. Machine Head is arrested, but Mark, Monster Girl, and Black Samson are in critical condition. The GDA rushes them away for emergency treatment. And then the episode reveals something surprising. Titan wasn't completely honest with Mark. After Machine Head is removed, Titan takes control of his entire criminal organization. Isotope was secretly helping him. Titan brings his family into Machine Head's former penthouse and sits behind his desk. Mark believed he was helping Titan escape the criminal world. Instead, he helped Titan become the new boss. Meanwhile, Debbie's suspicions about Nolan continue to grow. She finds Damien Darkblood's notebook and starts looking for evidence. Eventually, Debbie discovers Nolan's Omni-Man suit. And the suit is still covered in blood from the night the Guardians of the Globe were murdered. Debbie now has physical evidence that her husband may be connected to their deaths. Robot is also continuing his secret plan. He approaches the Mahler twins and offers them a job. We already know Robot is interested in their cloning technology. And after seeing his real body in the previous episode, it becomes clear that he's preparing something involving the Mahlers and Rex's DNA. By the end of episode 5, almost everything has gone wrong for Mark. Amber is angry with him. Titan manipulated him, and Battle Beast nearly killed him. This episode is extremely important because Mark finally learns that having Viltrumite powers doesn't make him unstoppable. Until now, Mark has survived almost every fight. But Battle Beast is different. He doesn't just defeat Mark. He completely humiliates him, and the scariest part is that Battle Beast wasn't even fighting for his life. He was looking for a challenge. When Mark failed to give him one, Battle Beast simply walked away. Episode 5 also pushes the Omni-Man mystery even further. Debbie now has Nolan's bloody suit. Cecil already knows the truth. And Nolan's secret is becoming harder to hide. Mark may survive his injuries. But after what happened with Battle Beast, he will never look at his own strength the same way again. What did you think about Invincible Episode 5? Let me know in the comments, and if you want Episode 6 explained next, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. After nearly dying in his fight against Battle Beast, Mark is finally recovering. But while his body is healing, the mysteries surrounding Omni-Man continue to grow. Let's break down everything that happens in Episode 6. The episode begins with Mark waking up in the hospital after suffering massive injuries. Debbie is relieved to see her son awake, while Cecil reminds Mark that being a hero means facing enemies far stronger than himself. Meanwhile, the Guardians of the Globe are also recovering. Monster Girl is badly injured, and the team's confidence has taken a huge hit after Battle Beast defeated all of them with ease. Robot continues acting as the team's leader, but he's secretly working on something else behind everyone's back. At home, Debbie becomes increasingly suspicious of Nolan. After finding his bloodstained suit, she can no longer ignore the possibility that her husband murdered the original Guardians of the Globe. Instead of confronting Nolan directly, Debbie begins quietly searching for more evidence. Elsewhere, Damien Darkblood continues his investigation. He's convinced Omni-Man is hiding the truth and refuses to stop digging, despite the danger. However, Nolan realizes Darkblood is getting too close. Using his influence, Cecil is forced to banish Damien Darkblood back to the dimension he came from. Although Darkblood disappears, he secretly leaves Debbie one final message, encouraging her to keep investigating Nolan. At the same time, Robot's mysterious plan begins to unfold. He secretly meets the Mahler twins and asks them to help him create a new body. The twins are surprised because Robot isn't interested in becoming stronger. Instead, he wants a normal human body. Robot reveals that his real body is badly deformed and has spent its entire life inside a life support chamber. The Mahlers agree to help. Using cloning technology, they begin creating a perfect body based on Rexplod's DNA. The process seems strange at first, but Robot explains that Rex's body is physically healthy and suitable for what he needs. Back at school, Mark tries to return to his normal life. Amber is still upset that he abandoned her during their date, and Mark struggles to balance his relationship with his responsibilities as Invincible. Every time he tries to live like a normal teenager, another emergency pulls him away. Meanwhile, William invites Mark to visit Upstate University. William hopes to spend time with his friend Rick, who recently started studying there. Once they arrive on campus, everything seems normal, but strange disappearances have been happening around the university. Students have gone missing without any explanation. While exploring the campus, William and Rick become separated from Mark. Rick is suddenly kidnapped by mysterious cyborgs working beneath the university. Mark transforms into Invincible and follows them underground. There, he discovers the person responsible, a mad scientist known as D.A. Sinclair. Sinclair has been kidnapping people and turning them into powerful cybernetic soldiers called Reanimen. His goal is to create the perfect human weapon by replacing flesh with machines. Rick is one of his newest victims. Mark immediately attacks Sinclair's creations. Although the Reanimen are incredibly strong, Mark manages to destroy several of them. However, Sinclair escapes before Mark can capture him. The battle causes major destruction beneath the campus, but Mark succeeds in rescuing William and Rick. Unfortunately, Rick has already been transformed into a Reanimen. He survives, but it's unclear whether he'll ever return to normal. Instead of arresting Sinclair permanently, Cecil secretly takes him into GDA custody. Rather than wasting Sinclair's genius, Cecil wants him working for the government. He believes Sinclair's technology could become useful in defending Earth against future threats. This decision shows just how different Cecil's approach is compared to traditional heroes. He's willing to work with dangerous people if it means protecting the planet. The episode ends with Robot's new body finally being completed. The Mahler twins successfully transfer Robot's consciousness into the cloned body. But instead of creating an adult, Robot deliberately chooses the body of a teenage boy. The reason becomes clear. The original Robot is actually a genius teenager named Rudy Connors. After spending his entire life trapped inside a deformed body, Rudy finally experiences the world as a normal human for the first time. Episode 6 shifts the focus away from giant battles and instead develops several important storylines. Debbie moves closer to discovering Nolan's secret. Cecil continues making morally questionable decisions. Mark learns that not every enemy can simply be defeated with strength alone. And Robot's mysterious plan is finally revealed. By the end of the episode, almost every major character is hiding secrets. Nolan is hiding the truth about the Guardians. Debbie is secretly investigating her husband. Cecil is recruiting dangerous criminals to protect Earth. And Robot is no longer the person everyone believed him to be. All of these storylines are slowly building towards something much bigger. What did you think about Invincible Season 1 Episode 6? Let me know in the comments, and if you want Episode 7 explained next, don't forget